Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Jason Smith. I'm the Projects Director for Accelerant Solutions, and welcome to the Soul Smart Open Universe of Learning live webinar. I'm excited to bring you some of these innovative solutions and learning technologies that our partners over at Technotom have put together for us. Thank you for attending. And today's webinar should last about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, and we have a live Q&A session set up at the end for you to ask questions. There's also there should be a dialog box, Q&A box down at the bottom if you'd like to bring open a box and ask questions. We have some panelists to help you out there as well. So here is today's agenda. We're going to start out with introductions, let you know who's on the webinar, and that should take about 5 minutes max. We'll do a brief overview of Accelerant Solutions and what the company's about, who we are, and why we're here, why we partnered with Technotom, and why we're bringing this innovative software to the United States and Canadian markets. And then we'll get into the Soul platform. We'll talk a little bit about the technology, the software, and look at the dashboard briefly, show you a live user account. And then we'll wrap it up with Q&A at the end for about 5 minutes, and we'll close out with anything remaining, anything that anybody has left on their table or their agenda to talk about. So our presenters for today are myself. I have David Heller, who is the NHRG co-manager. He's also a wonderful consultant with Accelerant Solutions, and also Antonio Cruzado, who is the Soul technical manager. Both David and Antonio will be answering questions as panelists, so feel free to interact with them as we go along. If you have any questions that come up, they'll be answering real time in a chat box on the right hand side of your window. So what are some of the capabilities that Accelerant Solutions has to offer? I know you're here and you're thinking, well, this is about Soul, and I'm here to see Soul and the software technical capabilities it has. But for those of you who are attending the webinar who might not know what Accelerant Solutions is about, we're a little bit more than just a technology company. So we offer services all the way ranging from project management to new nuclear plant startup and construction. We do procedures, improvement, upgrade projects, help with regulatory compliance and recovery. We have causal analysts that do an amazing job coming in and diagnosing problems, figuring out what they are, developing corrective actions for those problems, all the way up to training program, accreditation, renewal, workshops. We're partnered with Focus Learning, and so we have some vision software experts, database experts on our team that can come help you with vision, and of course staff augmentation as well. So a little bit more than just a software company, in case you didn't know. Now, we're partnered with this company called Technotom, and you might be wondering, who's Technotom? If you were at the NHRG conference in Phoenix about a month ago, Technotom was set up as a vendor outside of the keynote speaker room. They had a table and they were demonstrating some of their software solutions. Technotom is based out of Spain. And for those of you that don't know, over in Spain, they do things a little bit differently. Over in Spain, commercial nuclear plants don't really have training departments. When they want to license operators or train people, they actually hire people, send them to Technotom. Technotom takes them, turns them around in 12 months as fully licensed operators, and sends them back to the plant to perform their job, to perform their duties. And they use some of this technology that we're going to show you today to do that, which is why they are so efficient and they're so productive over there. Well, our president, Billy Mack, met the owners of Technotom at an event a few years back and saw the power of their technology and opted to create a partnership with them to bring that technology over here to the States, where it's sorely needed. As you know, we kind of lag behind the rest of the world in terms of how we deliver training, and we deliver solutions in the form of training in this environment. If you've heard the phrase death by PowerPoint, then you've obviously experienced it probably. And a lot of what they do over there is years ahead of where we are. And Billy had that vision to bring that over here to this market and help us catch up. And so we're excited to bring that to you today. We're excited to show it to you. And some of the reasons that we partnered with them to do this align with the bullets you see on your screen, like delivering the nuclear promise. Delivering the nuclear promise. We're here to build collaborative partnerships and augment organizations with a virtual innovation lab, which is what SOL is all about. Which SOL, by the way, helps transform organizational knowledge into a valuable asset, and we'll get into how that's done here in a minute. So what is SOL? Well, it's a knowledge management and learning platform. It's used for the transfer of knowledge and knowledge retention. It is a digital transformation platform. So through things like 3D imaging, holographic imaging, virtual reality, and those sorts of technologies, it delivers material in a manner, whether it's through training or any other environment. It delivers material in a way that helps the end user understand, comprehend, and retain that information. It also allows for social collaboration. So we'll show you what that looks like through forums and instant messaging and that sort of thing. And the bottom line is SOL tries to create conditions, or it does create conditions that are as close to the real job as possible. Because at the end of the day, what are we really concerned with in the nuclear world? We're concerned with safety first and foremost. And the way you train people, whether it's an operator or a human resources person or an IT software technician, to do their job effectively is by creating conditions in a training environment that are as close to their job as possible, real conditions that are as close to their job as possible. And every human being learns a little bit different, but there are a few factors across learning and how we learn as human beings that allow us to retain knowledge better and understand things in a more simple and easier manner. So digesting training material, digesting information is accomplished in a much more effective way when you use the right tools, and we believe that's what SOL helps to do. So here are some of the aspects of the software platform. Social learning, as we already mentioned on the previous slide, digital transformation of learning materials. So digitizing prints, for example, and putting them into a digital format that allows them to be interactive for the student or the learner. There's learning analytics built into SOL, so it can track the progress of a student across a course or multiple courses and look at how their grades are improving or declining, set up notifications to go out and let mentors or instructors know that, hey, this student may need some help. So the data and analytics is smart. It's smart. Expert areas and customized dashboards. So keep in mind that in this platform, you're going to see some dashboards that look a certain way and feel a certain way, but understand, in my early days of software development, when I was first learning software, understand that we can make the software do anything. Technotom can make the software do anything. So it doesn't have to look the way it looks. And in fact, it can be set up, regardless of what station utility or whoever you are, to look and feel and carry the color, the branding, the messaging of your organization. So everything's completely customizable. So use your imagination a little bit, take some notes, and when you see the dashboard, ask yourself, is this the way I want it to look, or would I like it to look a little bit different? Would I like to change this or change that? Because things can be changed in software. Anything can be done with software. That's the beauty of it. It's personalized learning, so it's geared towards each user specifically. It can be hosted in the cloud or on a local server. It uses gamification, so games are built into the training process. It has responsive design on multiple devices, so whether a person's using an iPad, a desktop, or their phone, if they're out in the field or out in the plant or out, in the building somewhere, they can log into their account through their Soul account and access the material, the training material, and it's responsive, so it'll fit to their device. So a powerful feature. You can learn anywhere, anytime. It doesn't have to be in a traditional classroom setting. Of course, it is a learning management system, but it's not just a learning management system. And then, like we mentioned before, there's multi-conferencing, forums, messaging as well, where students can interact or instructors can interact with students. And it can be set up that way because human beings don't just learn by watching, they learn from each other, right? So students communicating. I remember when I was going through license class, one of the best ways that I learned was interacting with other students during breaks and periods where it was time to study. We learned from each other, asking each other questions to understand material at a deeper level. And that's what multi-conferencing, forums, and messaging allows you to do, but through a software technology. So here's some of the features of Soul. There's 3D components. You can see up there an exploded view of a motor generator. We'll watch a short video, about a 1-minute clip of that taking place in a learning video to see what that type of training looks like. There's 3D panoramics built into the platform, meaning we could set it up so that a virtual reality tour of your entire facility takes place. Imagine being able to walk out into engineering spaces where there's high radiation, high dose, but you want people to train on that without picking up the dose. Well, they could walk out with VR goggles or 3D panoramics in a lesson and open up a door and walk into a room and turn around 360 degrees in the room, look at components, interact with components that are already in the room without even physically being in the room. So it's a very powerful feature built into this technology. Again, it's gamified. Virtual reality is also an option for Soul. And then Plant, which is the lesson plan. I hate to use the word it's PowerPoint, but it is the PowerPoint type delivery vehicle for training material in Soul, but it's called Plant. And there's a lot of additional learning features built into it that your traditional PowerPoint does not have or cannot facilitate. And we'll take a brief look at that as well. So learning with the Soul platform, it's personalized. The reason it's personalized, it has 4 key features. One being it's personalized. So not all people learn the same way. It's contextualized, which means it's closely linked to the job. It's based on human performance. We want people to be safe when they go out into their work environment. We want them to do the job to the best of their ability because we want them to come home in the same condition they arrived at work in. So the way you do that is you create a training environment, a learning environment that mimics those job conditions. And that's why all of this technology, we're so passionate about bringing it to the States, because we truly believe that it's going to do a number of things besides just lowering costs. It's going to help reduce accident rates. It's going to help minimize the amount of OE that gets fed into the info database, because less people are going to get hurt, less accidents are going to happen. And it's just an overall good thing to have that built into the way you train. It's collaborative. So it means we learn with and from others through the use of networks, and we kind of already briefly touched on that. And it's seamless, meaning you can use it anywhere from any device at any time. As long as you have a user account specified to you, you can log in and you can access it on iPad, phone, desktop, wherever you want to be. So here you're going to see some screenshots of the dashboard inside an account we set up. Every user is going to have their own permissions inside Soul. So for example, I'm logged in here on this screenshot as Jason Smith, but every user is going to have certain privileges. So I have power user privileges as an admin, so I'm going to see things on my dashboard that would be a little bit different than a student would see. But as you can see, there's courses here that you can that you'll be able to access along with course overviews from the dashboard. And then when you drive a little bit deeper, you can go into each course and see the different lessons that are set up for the course. This is a screenshot of Plant. So when you launch the course, it's going to launch in a window through a platform called Plant, which is built into the Soul software platform. And Plant has a very different look and feel than PowerPoint, and a lot of different functionalities and improvement upon PowerPoint. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing a lesson for thermodynamic cycles. It's just a screenshot. But what you see on the left is a layout of all the objectives and the flow of objectives. There's built-in quizzes and review questions into the presentation. You can cycle through at the bottom and look at every slide just like you would in a PowerPoint, but it's interactive. So as the student goes through it or the instructor goes through it, you can click on icons. You can interact with charts and diagrams. And as you can see on, let's see, the next slide here, we have a PNID pulled up. That PNID, process and instrumentation diagram, has interactivity built into all of the icons. So the pumps, the valves, the flow elements, temperature elements, heat exchangers, they're all interactive where you can click on them. You can start a pump, you can close a valve, you can show flow paths by layering parts of the PNID out. So if I wanted to show a simple one-line diagram, I could show that by removing layers of the PNID or adding to them. So very powerful feature. We built in student text here onto the left-hand side where components in the system's text have functionality. You can click and identify components on the PNID from the system's text. So some very powerful features built into the Plant platform when you're delivering training. Also, there's grades. So you can select the courses that are available to the student, and then you can show a snapshot of their grades, their highest grades, lowest grades, their average grades, and you can look over the course of time and see how performance is improving or declining, and check and adjust based on those grades. An instructor would be able to see, a power user, an instructor would be able to see students. You can assign students to the power user based on who's in their class. As a student, you would just see your own courses, obviously, and your own grades. But it's a good indicator of how I'm doing. What we're looking at here would be an example of a student, how I'm doing in a given course. There's a calendar built in, so you would select your course from a drop-down menu, and then you could look at the calendar and you could see what classes are coming up, what exams are coming up. You could set up notifications in this calendar to be triggered so that you're notified when an exam or an important event is coming up in the calendar. So it's a powerful feature. It can integrate with other software. So if you want to get an email notifications outside of Soul that something's coming up, this calendar can integrate with that software. Remember, software can do anything to trigger an email notification or something to you to notify you that an important date on your schedule is right up ahead of you. And then there's a private files section. So you can, if, for example, you like to work on a whiteboard, say you're in the classroom, you like to work on a whiteboard with other students, and you guys are making a mess of a whiteboard for some reason, you take pictures of that and say you want to take those pictures and upload them into your learning area, you can do that. If you take notes on paper, you're old-fashioned, you want to take pictures of that or scan those and upload them here as Word documents, PDF files, Excel documents, you can do that. So that's built in here as well. It's a built-in feature of the Soul platform. User reports are also available where you can see percentages and breakdowns of all your scores and a little bit different type of a snapshot rather than just an overall grade report. And what I want to do now is I want to get into showing you the actual dashboard. So I'm going to exit the screen here, and I'm already logged in online, and I'm going to show you a couple other things and play a couple short videos for you to show you the power of this platform. So what you're looking at here is you're looking at my personal login information from the Soul dashboard. As you can see on the left, there's the calendar, the private files, which we already touched on, my name up here with a drop down that gives me other other options such as messaging, creating a profile, and grades, some quick links. And then I can look at my recently added access courses. So I'm enrolled in a couple courses here, and there's filters where I can look at the courses, and I can look at future and past courses, courses that are in progress or completed. And then course analytics, which we already looked at. And down here below, I want to show you one thing in particular. If we had quizzes, we could see those here. We have a forums section. And if we click on the forums section, you can see how you can interact with other students that might be in your class. And you can have an interaction with them back and forth. It's not real time, but you can communicate in a forum with people back and forth and have discussions with them based on the course forum that you're interacting through. So kind of a neat feature to be able to collaborate with other students or other learners. And I'm going to show you two more things here that I think are pretty neat that you'll find really interesting. They're two very short videos, and the first one, oops, sorry, I have to access I'm going to access the PWR course. And from here, besides seeing all of the lessons that I have access to, down below under Advanced Tools, I'm going to click on 3D and show you some of the types of learning technologies that can be put together. So keep in mind the student is actually using these functions, pivot camera, and moving around and clicking the buttons to make these exploded views occur so that they can see things. Seeing things like that in training make learning so much easier. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, so much more simple to see things explained that way. So I want to go back now. I want to show you one more video, but that's just one type of technology that can be built into training. The second, if you were at the NHRG conference this year, you might have experienced this or tried these on. We're going to show you the HoloLens training, and an individual is going to go into a room and actually disassemble a valve using virtual reality goggles. So I want to show you this. And that is the power of virtual reality. And if you didn't notice, he was actually in the space laying the valve, the virtual reality valve, over the top of or next to the actual valve that he would be disassembling, and walking through what disassembly of that component would be like. And that's as close to real job conditions as possible, right? About as close as you can get. I'd like to make a couple key points. Business cases have been done already on this platform and on this technology, and people are seeing anywhere from 25 to 35% in cost savings. So there's actual monetary savings that are seen in using this software solution. I would tell you, if you're an instructor or if you've ever been an instructor, you can imagine how time consuming it is to do things like revise training material. And when you spread that across the aggregate of a training organization that may have 13 different programs, that can be quite time consuming. But imagine that you have something like a design change on a component like a pressure control valve in the plant that occurs, and rather than that change needing to work its way over into training down into the organization where instructors are revising their material that uses that component, imagine that change is picked up by a piece of software such as Asset Suite, right? A lot of plants use Asset Suite out there. And that software recognizes the change, takes the new component and feeds it into Soul and into Plant, and where all those lesson plans live, and the lesson plans all update automatically. It removes all the human factoring from it. That is a cost savings, time savings in and of itself. The benefit of something like that is that now the instructors can focus on what really matters, which is delivering high quality training material to their students. And they can focus on learning the material, presenting it in a way that's more effective to the students instead of doing things, busy work like revising training material. So that's just one example of many, but there's business cases that if you're interested in seeing them, we can send you, just reach out to either myself or somebody else at Accelerant Solutions, and we can get you a business case to show you that. It reduces required training time for new hires, regardless of the organization. This doesn't just apply. I speak like an operator because I was one, but this doesn't just apply to operations. It applies to any department. So it has broad applicability. It enhances the learning environment, as we've already seen. It provides easy communication between users through forums, instant messaging, and it allows you to find knowledge gaps early in the training cycle, and a lot more. So my question to you is, what's in your toolbox? Are you still using PowerPoint? Are you still using, maybe you're using slides and transparencies and slide projectors? I don't know. Chalkboards? I'm not sure what's out there still. But the power of a tool is directly correlated to the learning environment through which that tool is leveraged to deliver learning material or training material. And so I would encourage you to think long and hard about that, and think about how a platform like this, whether you use this one or not, can enhance the environment at your company and in your organization. And with that, I would like to open it up to questions. So if you have any questions, again, there's a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. You can just click it and you can answer questions. I see that there's one question right now, and it says, how can this be used for onboarding a new employee in my organization? You could use the Plant software inside Soul to deliver training material automatically to that new employee. It could be a self-taught, self-paced course, and all of the grading can be done automatically through the course, and quizzes and exams can be built into the course. So if we're talking about training a new employee or a new hire, there's technology there for doing that. I'm not sure if that answered the question. And that is the only question I see. So if we don't have any other questions, going once, going twice, Then that is all I have for the day. And I got one more slide for you here. If you're interested in learning more, you can visit us at our website at discoveraccelerant.com. And if you have other questions or you would like to set up a in-person live demonstration and discuss having us come out to your organization and present to people in a live setting, we can do that. We can bring this technology to you and we can discuss coming out and showing it to you in person. We're happy to discuss doing that. So reach out to me. My email's right there if you'd like to take a picture with your phone or take a screenshot. It's just jasonsmith@accelerantech.com. And I'm happy to hear from you soon. This webinar, by the way, is being recorded. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the link after it is edited and we're going to make it available to you if there were people in your organization that were not able to attend, so you can share that with them. So again, thank you for attending. Jason Smith, Executive Projects Director with Accelerant Solutions, and I really, really, really appreciate the time you've given us today because I know it's valuable. So we'll see you the next time. Take care.